We at Time Shifters hope that you enjoyed this rare and infamous moment that combines a first-rate disaster with genuine historical significance. But now it's time to take a deep breath as we prepare to temporarily reset you. Get your cars to Mars.
Everyone, this is Christopher and Tom, and this is the Time Shifters podcast. In this show, we discuss and review film and television primarily in the sci-fi, fantasy, and horror genres. If you hear anything discussed today and you want to put your 2 cents worth in, send an email to timeshifterspodcast@gmail.com. So let's get Tom on here and start this thing. Tom, how you doing?
Just fine, and feel free to send us the 2 cents.
Yeah.
Every little bit helps.
Absolutely. Been up to anything fun?
As we were talking ahead of the show, got to go to Awesome Con in Washington, D.C., a convention where I did not get to take advantage of some of the stuff that was there, because we were primarily there. I'm going to give a shout out to Christopher Aminga. I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly. A artist that is my son is a huge fan of, and he really wanted to meet him and chat with him for a bit, and he did get that opportunity, and he was on cloud nine for the effort to even go and see him. So that was really cool. But there were lots of people, it was almost a repeat of some of the stuff at Comic Expo. Like, we wandered by where the celebrities were, and it was Ming-Na Wen and lots of the ones we've already seen. The only ones that might have been more interesting that I didn't dig into on whether or not they were having panels is they had a decent hunk of some of the cast from Lord of the Rings there.
Oh, nice.
They actually had Orlando Bloom and Liv Tyler.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And John Rhys Davies was there. So,
Nice.
So yeah, that would have been kind of cool. But man, walking up to the section where you can either go get photos and signatures, I got to give them a little credit on some of the organization. They actually had a place where you went and signed up for and paid for all of that before you even went back into the area where you got in line for it. Mm-hmm. So there's not a money exchange at the individual booths, which that part was cool. But my God, some of them wanted some money. Like Simon Pegg was there, which would have been kind of cool. If you wanted anything to do with him in his booth, though, it was going to be like $175.
Yeah, I don't know how people do it. I have never been an autograph hound.
No.
I know many people that are and have collected many autographs. I don't know how they can do it. The prices have just gotten out of control, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, there was a lot there. Actually, of all things, Summer Glau was there too, and I'm like,
nice.
And like I still thoroughly enjoy when I got to meet Summer, but wow, it was double what what I paid to get a picture with Summer. So, like, nope. But yeah, I'm not a starstruck guy. I would love the ones that I enjoy. I like to go up and say hi, thank you for the work that you do, chat a little bit, but I don't care about a signature or the photo, honestly.
Right. Yeah. No, I feel much it's the same way. I like getting down to the celebrity area right as they're coming back from the panels. They don't have a big line, and they're just kind of setting up, and you can go up and go, hey, I was at your panel. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, that or something like that. It was really great. And they'll, and you can usually connect a little bit and chat and maybe bring up a little something. I remember we did it at the expo where I watched a film that you just happened to be in. I didn't know it until I started watching it, and she's like, I even forget who this celeb was. One of the actresses that was in
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, she played the armory.
Yeah. It's so nice to hear that people think that film was made last year. It was like, that was 5 years ago. 6 years ago.
No. And that was what was a little disappointing about this venue. I appreciate that they kind of had the preemptive location to sign up for the stuff. but it also meant you didn't get to go back into the area if you hadn't.
Oh, nice. So it kept the crowds down. And
It does, but I mean, you can't just have a chance conversation.
Oh, I see.
Like if somebody's booth is running lean and you just wanted to go up, say hi, shake hands, something like that, that wasn't an option.
Oh,
and that
gotcha.
was kind of disappointing.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because, that kind of eliminates exactly what we were just talking about.
Right. And sometimes just wandering by and seeing them in person, even if you don't ever approach the booth, you're like, oh, hey, I got to see so-and-so. Like, that should be a good thing, even if you don't want to pay, and you couldn't do that in this case. So,
yeah,
it was a little weird that way. But the rest of it was fun. Actually, of all things, too, and I wish I'd remember his name, the guy that does the pencil drawings that are almost photorealistic, his one where he has all the Jokers on there, that guy was there. We actually caught him on the way out, and he was a lot of fun to talk to.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, so that was a good time.
Talking about the expo, and you mentioned John Rhys Davies.
Yeah.
Who was supposed to be at the expo last year
Right.
and had to pass because a friend of his was gravely ill.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he is coming back. At least he's scheduled to come back this October to the expo.
That's
so,
cool.
Got my fingers crossed that he actually, because I'd love to sit in on his panel. I think that would be
like he's got to have a lot of good stories.
Oh, he's worked with just about everybody, done so many things, ever from Indiana Jones to Sliders to Lord of the Rings. He was in a Bond film. He was in The Living Daylights. I mean,
That's right. I forgot he was in that.
Yeah, ton of stuff. So yeah, he's got to have some fun stories to tell.
Yeah,
looking forward to that.
Well, and he could read the phone book, that voice of his too.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, honestly, I was never a big fan of Sliders.
Right.
But I would occasionally watch it just for him.
I watched for other reasons, but sure.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Andrew Satterfield, who is the man behind the Comic Expo, he just recently opened a new toy store over in Harrison, Ohio, called the Atomic Vault.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I went to its grand opening event, and I actually didn't realize it was him behind it until I was there. And he's like, "Oh, hey, Christopher, thanks for coming by." I'm like, "You're behind this?" He's like, "Yeah, I just live a few minutes away, and I figured we needed a toy store this side of town." So awesome. So it's a nice, classic toy and comic shop. Just a small place, but it looks really great. It's got some neat stuff and anything. Anyway, but he gave me a little hint that the expo was going to be quote unquote super this year. And if you go to their website and see or follow them on their social media, if you see some of the guests that they've already slated to attend, aside from John Rhys Davies, you'll understand why. It is going to be thick with Superman and Supergirl celebs.
Nice.
We have already got Helen Slater, the original Supergirl, is going to be there.
That's awesome.
Laura Vandervoort
Oh, nice.
from Smallville,
Yep.
Supergirl, etc. Tom Welling and Tyler Hoechlin are all. Is it Hoechlin or Hoechlin?
That I couldn't tell you.
I think it's okay. I'm gonna go with Hoechlin.
Sounds good. We'll have to ask him what his preferred pronunciation is.
Yeah. Are all slated to be there. A few of them are only appearing on Saturday, so if you're at all interested, and if you're in the tri-state area and you're thinking of coming to the expo, make sure you come on the day that your favorite celeb is definitely going to be there. But it's looking pretty good. And that's just the beginning. I mean, that's only a handful. He's going to pack in a few more on top of that. I'm kind of curious to see if I'm waiting for like the big one. There's going to be somebody that everyone's going to go, holy crap.
Pull somebody from the actual. By then, the new movie will have been out.
Yeah, possibly from that or any of the previous Supermen in film would be pretty cool.
Get Brandon Routh to show up.
That would be awesome, and it wouldn't surprise me. He's the one that's a bit of the geek himself, isn't he? He's a
Well, yeah. And then he also went on to play Adam in.
yes, in what was that called?
Well, he did it in Arrow first,
right,
and then he moved over to I'm blanking on the team name thing that it was.
the time traveling one.
Yep.
Yeah, I started watching it, thought it was pretty good. Never got back into it.
Yeah, I got CW'd out, so.
Yeah, exactly. I think I got a little tired of it. So yeah, I'd love to see him come to town. That would be very cool.
Yeah, no, he'd be cool. And he's in the unfortunately much maligned Superman movie, but I actually kind of like Superman Returns. With the exception of the costume. Like I always thought his ass was way too small on his chest.
Interesting. I am not well versed. I think I've seen most, if not all, the Superman films, but only once. And
Right.
I didn't really commit many of them to memory. I couldn't tell you what happened in which film.
Yeah, I'm cursed with decent memory. I probably can, with the exception of the quest for peace, other than the gathering of all the nuclear missiles and all that, and the really lame blonde bad guy.
Well, I know those films, the 70s and 80s
Yeah,
films.
the Christopher Reeves stuff.
Yeah, I could tell you in some amount what happened in those films. It's all the ones from the 2000s, Brandon Routh and everybody else that I'm like, I know things happen. I couldn't tell you which scene went in what film or who the actor was.
And I still sit in that category that DC got great actors, perfect for their parts, and then saddled them with some of the worst scripts in the world. Because, I'm sorry, Henry Cavill is very much Superman to me. I put him in equal standing with Christopher Reeves, honestly.
Yes. And he'd also be a really great get for the X-Men.
He would be fantastic, and I love a lot of his work, but he was given garbage films to be in, and that is unfortunate, because I've never seen anybody thoroughly look the part, but also still carry over that, whenever he was doing the aw shucks Clark Kent thing, it's despite the fact that he's a beautiful man. There's no way around that. You can't not recognize how dreamy that man is. Yeah, you still buy him as the whole, shucks, I'm just the guy from the farm. I'm only big like this because I worked on the farm the whole time.
No, absolutely. No, that seems to be definitely, like you said, a problem with DC.
Yeah, and honestly, and I know people are swooning over the trailers and all of that for the new one coming out. Mm-hmm. Everything about it doesn't interest me even in the slightest.
It interests me about as much as any superhero film interests me anymore.
It
doesn't matter whether it's DC or Marvel. I see trailers and I go,
Yeah, it's exhaustion. There have been too many of them. But yeah, no, I'm sorry. The Superman, he looks frumpy. The outfit looks like it's baggy on him. It doesn't look right. But
it's got crypto.
I know people love their dogs. I don't like crypto as a concept. And to put him in the movie, the crypto was what you did when you wanted the wee little kids to get into comic books. Mm-hmm. It was never meant to be taken seriously.
Yeah, I'm not sure it makes. I don't even know how crypto came to be.
No, I don't either. I just know all of a sudden he showed up, and then you have to get into the whole conversation. Why does a Kryptonian dog look like an Earth dog?
Well, Kryptonians look like humans, so why wouldn't their dogs?
Sure. Sure. I mean, I'd still get into the whole why do Kryptonians look like human beings too?
Well,
Given the environment that they keep suggesting that they lived in, I'm like, I
don't know if a red sun would give you the same pigmentation and such as.
No, and you could geek out on all that stuff, and even if you just let all that go, again, the dog part bugs me, and then the notion that a dog with Superman-like powers. It's just free to roam around the globe, doing what dogs do, only at a level that no one should be having their dog doing them at.
Right.
Yeah, it bugs me, and then I'm sorry, I love Nathan Fillion. I love Nathan Fillion so much. He looks stupid as hell as Guy Gardner.
Yes. The Green Lantern looks ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean the haircut. I know. Yeah, it's very much like out of the comic books. The suit is very comic book like, but Guy Gardner was my least favorite Green Lantern ever. Anyway. So let's put the worst one in the new film. So,
yeah, I feel like DC really kind of hit the pinnacle with like Justice League and Superman and Batman the animated series. All the animated series.
The animated stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, to which my son has decided to take up watching the entire animated series run, and then he wants to get into the Superman one and then the Justice League, so he's now taking advantage of all that being available and making his way through. We were even watching some Batman the animated series first season stuff
it's good
today
stuff.
While he was home with me, and he's like, God, that stuff was just so good.
It was very good.
And we caught some of my favorite episodes. We caught the Grey Ghost episode.
Oh, it's a brilliant one with Adam West.
Yeah, no, we were chatting about the fun that having Adam West essentially replay the role and almost being the has-been actor while Adam West wasn't having as hard a life as the Grey Ghost guy. Still that notion of your typecast, you can't do much of anything else after that. Your career kind of wanes as a result of this one popular thing that you did. Yeah, that was all very much real, and having Adam West do the role just made it even more poignant. So
yeah.
But yeah, had that one and the Almost Got Him episode, if you remember that one.
Yes, with the Joker, Two-Face, Croc, and I think there was one other, or Catwoman maybe.
Catwoman's in it because she's.
I'm just trying to think of who's sitting around the table.
Pam, Poison Ivy's there.
Poison Ivy, yeah.
Yeah, because there's a wonderful crack where Pam sits down at the table. After kicking Croc out from his chair, and she sits down, and she and Harvey get into it immediately, and she just had to side note to Penguin, yeah, we used to date. Like, yeah, you're the reason he's Two-Faced, dude.
I just remember Croc's story about how Batman was coming, he was closer, getting closer. What happened? I threw a rock at him. There's just silence.
Oh, and then Pam just carries on the conversation, and then all of a sudden Croc interjects again and like, it was a big rock. The writing in that is so much fun, and the acting, and it's just, it's amazing. So it was fun to catch up on some of that. So he wants to keep watching those.
I may have to dive back in and watch those again. It's been a hot minute.
Yeah, no, he can dial all the way back to when those came out. I mean, you had to watch. That was a cartoon. You had to actually kind of watch it in prime time too, when it first started, at least.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it was cool. So revisiting that, it was fun. He even ended on the Joker's Christmas episode.
All right, well, tell you what, let's end it there, and we'll take a break here so we can get into the topic du jour. Let's listen to a promo for another podcast, and then when we get back, we're going to look at 2001's Stranded.
Hello,
Ahoy!
my name is Adam,
And I'm Nick.
and this is the Bottom of the Stream podcast.
A never-ending quest to find hidden movie gems on Netflix.
Every week we watch a random movie that we find on the stream, and we talk about it for about an hour.
Yeah, as well as that, we round up the news of the week, and we usually mention what we've been watching at the top of the stream.
Yeah, so if you're into Netflix and you enjoy watching stuff on there, give us a listen.
Join us aboard our podcast boat as we navigate the perilous water.
Available now wherever you get your podcasts.
This was an English language Spanish production. It's a science fiction film. It stars Vincent Gallo, Maria de Medeiros, Maria Ledone, and who also directed the film under the pseudonym Luna. And also appearing in a small role is Johnny Ramone, the last surviving original member of the punk band The Ramones. The year is 2020, and the Ares is a multinational mission to Mars. In the final stages, a software glitch causes the lander module to crash land on the planet, killing the mission commander. Unable to return to the orbiter, the crew begin to assess their situation and make plans for the multiple-year wait for a rescue. Engineer Luca Baglioni realizes that the lander can't support all 5 members of the crew long enough due to the power needs. 3 members will have to sacrifice themselves. Second in command, Susana Sanchez makes the call that she, along with the pilot Fidel Rodrigo and geologist Herbert Sagan, whose roles are no longer necessary under the circumstances, will put on their suits and leave the lander, leaving Luca and their crew doctor Jenny Johnson behind. The 3 head out to investigate an odd fog or mist and what looks like a maze-like structure at the bottom of a nearby valley before they run out of oxygen. One of the greatest mysteries of Mars is revealed, and it may be the difference between life and death for all 5 stranded astronauts. Ledone won the grand prize of European Fantasy Film in Silver, and Gallo and de Medeiros were named Best Actors at the 2002 Fantasta Festival in Rome.
For this?
Apparently for this.
Okay.
The scenes set on the surface of Mars were filmed on Lanzarote, an island in the Canary Islands, I believe, and the interior scenes were filmed at Panavision Studios in Hollywood. To save costs, they used the Space Shuttle interior set previously used for 2000's Space Cowboys. This film had a budget of a little over $5 million US. Put it in some sort of context with some of the other films that we've seen.
Sure.
Definitely kind of an independent production.
Sure.
This is a film of extremes.
Okay.
In almost every way you look at it. There are some story elements that are really good, and there are story elements that are really bad. Cast members that I think are really good, and there are cast members that are really bad.
Yeah.
There's elements of the effects. There's some good and some really bad.
Yeah.
There's no in between.
And you're reaping a little more positive out of it than I even got. I struggled hard with this film.
It's a bit of a slog. It is shy of 2 hours. It's like an hour and 40 some odd minutes. And it doesn't need to be that long.
Yeah, an hour 39, which isn't a long film. That's not a long. That's your sweet spot right there.
Yeah, it's not. I thought it was actually a little longer. I thought it crossed into the 140s, but
No, 139. It just feels like it's a 3.5 year long film. No, I struggle with this, and mostly from a writing perspective. I have no problem with the fact that it's a low budget, as budgets go. The effects, yes, so some good, some bad. I grant you that. You could catch some of the cheesy CGI exterior shots, and then there was this penchant for doing this kind of broken video kind of thing that started to get a little irritating when they were doing it. But the characters in these are just so awful. Never have you met a more unlikable group of people.
I will give most of the cast a little bit of grace. I don't think they were all bad. I think, unfortunately, some of them were dubbed horribly wrong. I have a feeling that since this was an English language production and this was largely a Latin American cast, I have a feeling that some of them were speaking their dialogue phonetically and may not have really known what it was that they were saying. So when the actual dub of whoever dubs them, the ADR has all this emotion and or energy in what they're saying, but the actor's face are very low key and not conveying what you're hearing. And that, I think, throws you off a bit.
There is a bit of that, but I'm just going to go straight at the writing, too. The notion, as we even discussed through a text, this is the anti-The Martian. Whereas that is a stranded scenario where the character is pretty much all but doomed, and his energy is to just keep solving the problems. I watched this one, and I was watching 5 people just go, "We're screwed. We're done. We're finished." And then what's even more strange to me is they actually brought up the notion of having to go through psychological testing, which you absolutely would have to in order to go on a mission like this. You have to have sterner stuff to get on board a mission like this. And their way around it is they all lied. Like, first off, I don't know who was running the psychological test, but they usually can catch that. So if you're lying to them, it's their job to know you're lying.
I assume the psychological test wasn't just question and answer.
Right. Yeah. You didn't get to just write an essay and go, "I really, 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 really want to go to Mars," and that's okay.
It's like going to a job interview and like, "Do you consider yourself a team player?" Absolutely.
Yeah, you're gonna have to show your work on that. But yeah, that was my frustration. Regardless of the acting level and some of the lower budget stuff, it was just that whole sense the whole way through. Once they crashed, everything was about dying at this stage. There was one upbeat, positive guy, and they shit all over that man constantly as a group.
Yeah. No, I felt really sorry for Herbert.
Yes.
Herbert Sagan. He's the one that was like, "Hey, no, why don't we try this? We can do this." And he is trying to and everyone, you're right. It's just, well, especially, Luca.
Oh yeah, no, Luca's supposed to be like the guy, like the brain on board.
There is no way that anyone's going to sit in a tin can for 16 months and not put that guy in an airlock.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was half of my problem with this movie. I'm like, none of you would have survived even getting to the planet at this point, because you would have all been like, "Oh, it's a vacuum outside and it's cold and I'm going to die anyway." It's been all over. This was a group of people prepared to commit suicide.
See, I think for the most part, the only one that was truly the pessimist and the fatalist was Luca.
Right.
I think everyone else was willing to like hear everyone out. Let's hear what Herbert has to say. Well, can't we do this? They were the ones that were all trying to come up with solutions, and Herbert would not Herbert. Luca was the one that was immediately just shutting them down at every stage without giving them any glimmer of hope whatsoever.
And I'm not gonna just trash religion, period, but the Jenny Johnson character and her undying need to somehow bring out Christianity in all of this, it was just ill-placed, and it was just rough. Like, okay, you guys all just got marooned on Mars. Your captain died. There are bigger fish to fry than worrying about whether or not you give him a Christian burial. I actually agreed literally with everybody else on that. Like, this is not the thing to be focused on right now.
Right. Yeah. Just if you don't want the body hanging around, put him outside the door.
Right, but the notion that you're going to go through the trouble to actually dig him a grave and all of that while you don't know if you're going to make it to tomorrow, not your priority, and it was a little disturbing to see that injected in there forcefully. It felt,
and then again when it's discovered that 3 people are going to have to die so 2 people can live, and that same character is like, well, I'm not going to kill myself. It's against my religion.
Right? Yeah. So you're clearly here for all the right reasons.
Well, and that was another point that I wanted to bring up with the some of the dialogue and the writing, and what I think helps kind of support my idea that there was a lot of just phonetically learning the script.
Sure.
Is that the things that they were saying were obviously coming off the paper.
Mm-hmm.
There was no, okay, I'm this character, I'm going to make this line my own.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of emotional connection to the words that they were saying and the character they were supposed to be.
Especially the 2 that I think were probably the most egregious were Herbert and Susanna.
Yeah.
They were the ones where I feel like were not always entirely understanding what they were saying, and were just reading literally the words off the page without putting any, it says that I say this without any contractions or anything, and instead of going, no, I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, and Susanna in particular, that character, despite being the second in command on this mission, she felt like a deer in the headlights the entire way.
She had that look on her face too.
Yeah,
and that's just it. She had that look on her face while what we're hearing is something really kind of like it's got some emphasis to it, but her face is really bland.
Yeah, like she's reading the cue card off out of picture.
Yeah, and that's our director, by the way. Just to clarify.
Right, yeah, no, I caught that, which is meaning you probably shouldn't be directing yourself. Because guess what? You're not nailing it. And yeah, no, I was just, I know I had texted you because I'm like, this is so depressing. Like, everything about this is just making me feel bad. This is the reason not to go to Mars ever. There
was moments, and there are times, and there are characters that I don't mind. I think Fidel, the biologist, the one of the 3 that go off. At first, I thought he was supposed to be Russian, but then his name does not.
No, his name is not Russian. No,
I think our Russian died. I think he was the one that died on the crash landing. But Fidel, I kind of liked him.
I did.
He seemed like a well-grounded, and he knew that he was gonna die, and they were doing this last thing just to waste time, effectively, until their oxygen ran out. But he wasn't being a fatalist about it. He was being a realist about it, and that worked really well.
I was also familiar with that actor. I've seen some of his other works. He's usually kind of a badass in a lot of the stuff that he gets to be in. So seeing him on there was both pleasant, but yeah, he had some better acting chops than I thought the others did.
Yeah,
and
go
ahead.
This was Joaquim de Almeida.
Sure.
Okay. Is who we're talking about. I didn't mention him earlier on, but he was really good. I liked him, and I liked him along with Jenny and Herbert. I thought the 3 of them actually, those moments with the 3 of them together worked a hell of a lot better than the 2 left back in the lander.
Yeah, no. And when we get to the two in the lander, then it gets offensive.
Well, Luke is just offensive.
Yes, exactly. Now, granted, this was a spot where Jenny actually did a little more redemption. In my case, her responses to him when basically, let's just get naked and die together.
Yeah, no, that is actually my favorite scene in this entire film. As Luca announces, we're losing pressure. We must have a leak somewhere in the lander. We don't know. I don't know where it is, but we've only got a few hours of air left. We should make ourselves feel good, enjoy it.
I mean, that's completely unreasonable. I mean, that's so uptight. Listen, Jenny, listen to me. I thought about this a lot. I mean, I think we can adapt together. The two of us can adapt to the situation here.
Let me tell you what we're going to do. Okay, my plan. Okay. Well, I'll get into my pressurized suit and go outside to see if I can locate the leak, okay?
Listen.
I don't care if it's a waste of time. At least I'll feel that I'm doing something useful. You can stay here inside, okay? And masturbate until you die of dehydration.
I don't want to
when the rescue mission arrives, that's how they'll find you. Ah!
Why do you be so tight?
And they may even erect a statue of you, on the same spot. Ah!
Yeah,
It's just the way she describes it, and then they find your mummified corpse.
Yeah, no, that was her redeeming moment after all the religious stuff earlier that was completely out of place for where she's trying to inject it. So yeah, her going off on him was amazing. And then the notion that he's the one guy that gets to live.
I was really annoyed by this film that the character that was the absolute jerk to everybody through the entire film is rewarded by survival with two beautiful women.
Which in this case is just probably the more realistic thing, because it just seems how world works sometimes, is the guy that doesn't deserve it is the one that gets it.
In my own headcanon, they still completely block him.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think he ever gets to touch them at all.
No.
But then, since we've gotten into the territory there where we're toward the end of the film, without even getting into what's happening yet, we could get into that shortly. But it's the most unsatisfying ending of a film ever. Like, okay, they found 3 people have found a way to survive, at least for a time, and that's it. We're out.
Yeah, this film goes from The Martian and turns into Robinson Crusoe on Mars.
Literally, yeah.
It really does. And again, like I was saying, this is a film of extremes. There is no gray, there is no walking a line. Somehow it is far over here and far over there all at the same time.
Well, yeah, because when we get to the point where there's a possibility of survival, and I'm sorry, Fidel was done dirty in that one. So, yes, we inject once again aliens on Mars as both the reason for. I had to actually kind of go back in my own head and remind myself that they had mentioned odd EM field patterns on the planet before they got there. Just to remind myself, they at least opened a reason for this to be there. Because I was so numbed over from the pessimism that was just perpetual that by the time Susanna wanders into an area and actually finds that they appear to have wandered into part of a spacecraft or some sort of city kind of thing. You don't know at the time. And like, where the hell did that come from? like you guys are all about to go all Red Planet and take your helmets off and breathe your last breath, and boom, you're gone. And you're going to solve it by wandering into this alien location. Like, fine. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. You mentioned there was something. This is the something. I'm like,
yeah, it was poorly set up early on with the Ramon fella, Johnny Ramone, up in the orbiter.
Yeah.
Mentioning something about they took some photos and they were talking about, or maybe he wasn't involved. Maybe it was just them down on the planet talking about that the lander took photos on the way down, and there was a structure, and it matches exactly the structure that's over on near the ice cap, and so the idea there might be some sort of manufactured structure.
Yeah.
And then yes, the EM thing is actually told to us by the 64-bit news story at the beginning.
Yeah.
Again, extremes. You got the 64-bit, whatever the hell that is, and then you have some fairly decent for the budget CGI with the lander and the Martian's landscape and everything.
What was killing me is I almost blanked on that news, that quote unquote news segment at the beginning, because that was done at the same quality as the news segments from Birdemic.
Like I said,
I'm like, wow. High school productions do better jobs than this.
Like I said, I had to go back. It's like, wait, this was 2001 and not 1981, right?
Right, yeah. No,
I felt like I was watching it.
Look.
I felt like I was watching a transition video on my old N64 game or something.
Yeah, no, it kind of had that feel, but yeah, no, I had to remind myself of even that was in there. But yeah, the alien thing, yeah, they kind of only gave you a couple of little nuggets early on, and now you're in it, and you get a place where it's pressurized, they can breathe, whatever, and one of the characters just happens to wander into a passageway that isn't pressurized, and he's just done. She wanders into the same passageway, but apparently not far enough that she gets back, and yet somehow dragging him back wasn't enough to let him live. And you're like, of this crew, you're like, between you and Herbert, you were the two that I would have probably preferred to have live. Mm-hmm. And you guys are the ones that are out.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, most of the survivors it's the exact opposite of how I would like this film to end as far as survivors.
Well, and like I said, I'm just inundated by the whole crappy attitude of everyone. Yeah, I get it. This sucks. You're probably going to die, but you're all scientists. You're supposed to be trying to do a little bit more. And the one that was just pushed me over the cliff on how awful it was. Lowell, the guy up in the orbiter, who can literally do nothing for them. His job is just to sit in this thing to make sure that they can capture them on the way back, and now knows that can't ever happen. And they're bagging on him at one point. I'm like, he's the monkey in the rocket. He can't do anything. There's no beam you up button on here. There is no extra lander down there for you to get to, for him to swing out on a rope and catch you like in some of the other movies. It's not gonna work that way. So yeah, he's a bad dude for having to sit there and follow the programming of the orbiter.
I will give, like I said, most of the cast a little bit of grace because English is likely not their first language.
Sure.
Johnny Ramone, though.
He was a bit of a pill.
Obviously just kind of reading cue cards.
Sure. They were probably literally glued above the...
Not actually having a conversation with anybody. I think it was just literally, okay, Johnny, read this line. Okay, now read this line. Please read this line next. I don't know why Johnny Ramone. Maybe he's a friend to somebody. Maybe he knows Vincent Gallo, because Vincent Gallo is like the one like U.S. Based actor.
Yeah.
So maybe he knew. I mean, the only other thing I've seen Johnny Ramone in is like Rock and Roll High School.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, he has few, if not zero, lines.
Yeah, he's not an actor. He wasn't an actor in this. Yeah, it didn't. Basically, I fully believe, especially given the way that the movie's cut, they had him come in one day, sit in front of a camera, read all of the lines, and then leave. There was no
absolutely.
There was no actual interaction with the person on the other end to actually make it feel human.
No, absolutely not. No.
No. Yeah, this is just bad.
Well,
go ahead, put whatever spin you can.
Yeah, it's this is not a good film.
No.
And it's frustrating because I feel like there are elements of it that are good. There are moments where you're like, "Oh, interesting." Like I was saying, this is The Martian meets Robin Crusoe.
Uh-huh.
This is like, it tries really hard at first with some really solid science and facts. And, you know, there was a Herbert, like, hey, let's build a windmill. We can do a windmill, and that'll help generate electricity. Energy. And Luke is like, there's not enough air. You know, the air pressure, it's too thin.
The atmosphere is too thin, yeah, and you won't get it to turn.
It's exactly what we were talking about with The Martian that they ignored in order to make, you know, the tragedy that strands them here.
Right.
In this film, they're like, no, we got 150 mile an hour winds that aren't powerful enough to turn a windmill.
Yeah.
So like, all right, nice, good. And then you end the film with there's aliens, there was a civilization of aliens on Mars with air and water and protein.
Yeah, they had lichens. Yeah, you literally at that point, you have pulled every element out of Robinson Crusoe on Mars.
So yeah, in the beginning, what's the big problem? The problem isn't we got food. You know, we've got food, we've got water, we've got recycling, we've got air recycling, but the power won't last, and there's no way to generate more. So I mean, there's actual like real science problems here.
Yeah.
That they bring up, don't do anything to try to solve, but they bring up. So you're thinking, okay, that's interesting. And then it just all gets tossed away because aliens.
Yeah, this is one where you're like, wasn't that obvious? The orbiter, it had solar panels on it. The lander didn't bring any with them?
Yeah, no.
Like, there was no possibility you might have wanted to generate a little extra oomph while you were on the ground?
Well, I'm not sure. That lander was definitely, it looked more like just a bullet. Were they just shooting at Mars and hoping to hit?
Yeah. When the thing took off from there, it was just like, I'm not seeing a whole lot of structure here that both gets it to land and gets it to take off again.
Right. Yeah. It just looked like the nose cone of a shuttle elongated a little bit.
Right. I'm like, are you going to do like a capsule landing? How are you getting back? I did. I was struggling with that right out of the get-go. But movie, I was giving it some room. I knew
exactly. I
mean, it's in the title. You know they're not getting off the planet right away. But,
yeah, I mean, it is what it says on the tin.
and they stuck to that hard, too. Yes, they were stranded. I'm like, okay, but wow, just not a lot of hope there. And that's what was really driving me crazy. Aside from their lack of hope, I mean, the group of people that they sent, like, they were all up there for the wrong reasons. They all lied to get up there, basically, with the exception of one, and we killed him first. Well, second. because we didn't get much time with the captain. He was just there long enough to face plant into the dashboard. But yeah, no, the one optimistic, energetic scientist that had anything remotely of a likable personality is the first guy you kill, and then from there, the rest of them, like I'm ready to just turn it off. I'm going to kill them myself because I can't stand watching them.
And sadly, poor Herbert kind of kills himself.
Yeah.
Because the three of them all have the same amount of oxygen, but he can't control his breathing well enough. He's overly excited. He's using up more oxygen than they are. And so that's why he dies. He suffocates the soonest. Which then bugs me, like, aside from
none of them but one maybe should have passed the psychological training, but then even the guy that would have legitimately passed the psychological training hasn't gone through any other decent training to have some self-control.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of it smacked as I can't believe what I'm seeing, and I kind of want them all to go away.
Yeah. This one's unfortunate. I feel like as a premise and as an idea, there's something here that could work. It's just, it's not realized well at all.
Well,
and the fact that some of these actors won awards for their acting in this is like, who did Vincent Gallo pay off? Apparently he's pretty popular among a certain crowd. They think he's like this gonzo actor, always crazy, doing these weird and interesting things. I'm like, that's great, but this wasn't the film for him.
No, and honestly, I don't know much of him, period. So, well, yeah, and here, you do mention there is some interesting... Their little take on whatever the Martian civilization was that was there and all that, you waited to the third act to introduce it. You made it look like it might be kind of interesting, and we don't explore it at all. It's just background.
And it's literally in voiceover going, we don't know what happened to them or how they lived. We may never. Oh, okay.
Well, that's because we're going to Blue Lagoon the rest of this. For me, it was depressing. It was offensive. It didn't take its own topic, its own subject matter seriously. Low budget doesn't have to be bad, but this was low budget and bad.
Yeah,
and that's.
I think what's worse, it thought it was taking itself seriously.
Right. Yeah, which that's the part that, yeah. Like, if you were going for bad and just played it up, then it becomes fun. But this was not that either. Yeah. I don't generally want, like, when we watch these, even when we watch the bad ones, there's usually still something that goes, okay, I got to have that experience. I might not watch it again, but I didn't feel bad for doing it. This one, legitimately, I just couldn't wait for it to be over. Felt bad that I had watched it in the first place. And I don't have a lot of those.
We only got one social media comment. Cameron over on the Facebook, his comment was just, prepare to be bored.
I'd have settled for bored. I was depressed.
I did want to point out when I logged into this on Letterboxd, and you can follow the link in the show notes to find the link to my Letterboxd if you want to follow along there too. And I was just kind of glancing through some of the other reviews from other people, and there was one I had to share because it made me laugh out loud. Frigid_stars rated this a 0.5 star, and their comment was, I think all the characters are super relatable because much like them, I also cannot act.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's pretty good. I have to share that one.
And go figure, I tried to find some professional reviews for this, and I just couldn't drum up any. I even found some Spanish written article, did a rough translate through Google, and all it was an article about the movie coming out. It even ended saying, we'll have to see when the movie comes out next weekend, and there's not a follow-up article.
Yeah, I think I saw the same article, and it was effectively kind of, we're looking forward to this. It's Spanish, and it's sci-fi, and kind of getting into the genre, and we're looking forward to seeing what these people can do, and talking how great they like this actor or this director, and they were hopeful.
Yes, no, I got the sense of hope, and I'm like, wow, okay, clearly you didn't watch it yet. So, and that I had to wait till the last paragraph to go, oh, gotcha, you wrote this before. And then just looking around, like, I'm surprised on IMDb, it gets a 5.3 rating out of 10. It seems high. The Rotten Tomatoes side seems a little more realistic. Nothing on the tomato meter, but they have a popcorn meter. That was 25%. So.
Ouch. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 5.5 on IMDb. I think I clocked it in at a 4. Just because there was things I liked. I maybe I liked the effort more than the result, but
yeah. I wasn't feeling between the story and the dialogue, forgiving the acting, forgiving the effects and all that. There wasn't anything to hang my hat on. I wouldn't give it even a full 1 out of.
Oh wow!
Yeah, no.
Okay.
This really hurt to watch.
I think it's take it with a grain of salt, and who's saying what. I watched some pretty bad movies.
Yes,
so
I believe.
On my own scale, this fits higher than some of the other films I've seen.
And since my friends and I on Thursday nights will watch the garbage of the garbage out there, and I can't recommend that we watch this because even when you watch a bad movie, usually they're laughable. I couldn't laugh at this thing. It was just depressing.
No, this isn't one that like you would ever see a riff tracks or something. There is no meat on the bone.
No, there's no, and that's part of it. Is there's nothing to make fun of. I am not being like, oh, it's a bad movie. Watch it to just see a bad movie be bad. It will depress you. It'll drag you down. It's not fun in any way.
No, definitely not a feel-good film, and one that if you've listened to this, you've already heard us spoil it.
Yes.
Absolutely. You can pretty much.
And we gave you the highlights.
Yeah. It is easily findable. It's on YouTube, free to watch if you really want to.
Sure.
That should tell you everything you really need to know. The fact that it's on YouTube. Someone put it on YouTube. Whatever.
And it wasn't like anyone was going to get an argument. No one was going to be hunting royalties. Nobody. This thing needs to be forgotten.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for Stranded. Next time, we're going to go ahead and just jump all in the bad, possibly.
Yeah.
We went from The Martian,
yes,
so far the most technically accurate depiction of Mars, to this film that started out that way,
yeah,
and then decided to go aliens.
Yeah.
So we figured we'll just keep going in that direction. Mm-hmm. And we're going to take a look at 1986's Star Crystal, which is nothing else but a movie about our astronauts being stalked by Martian aliens.
Yeah, after this one, fine, let's go all in on aliens, and I hope they're hateful and they rip out everybody in the process.
They're going to be slimy, there's going to be blood, there's going to be drool.
It's 1986. This is popcorn drive-in kind of material.
Yeah, absolutely.
and I need this now.
Yeah, this one's going to be more uplifting than Stranded.
Quite.
All right, well, thank you, everybody, for listening to the Time Shifters podcast. If you have any feedback on Stranded or Star Crystal or anything else that we've discussed, please send us an email or comment on any of the social media posts. Follow the link in the show notes or visit timeshifterspodcast.com.
If you can spare some time and wherever you are listening to the show allows you to leave ratings or reviews, please do so. That does help more people find the show.
If you so happen to have some spare change lying around, could you visit Ko-fi.com and /TSPOE podcasts and donate it to us? This will help with the costs of web hosting and episode production. The Time Shifters podcast will always be free. Any help you can offer us is greatly appreciated.
The money might also help with the emotional support. And if you need something to hold in your hands to show for your money, then please consider shopping at TeePublic by using our affiliate link or whatever it is these days. Again, just follow the link in the show notes or on the website. It won't cost you any extra, and anything and everything you purchase will help us as well as support many independent artists.
That is going to do it for this episode. Thanks very much, everybody. We will talk to you next time. Bye.
See ya.